Now, in this brief video, I want to show you two clips. One is from Garry Kasparov. He is the chess grandmaster that is a leader in the resistance to Russia, the founder of the Free Russia Forum. And he's going to talk about how Russia really has no future unless they lose the war. And then I'm going to show you a clip by Timothy Snyder that explains the mechanism by which this works. So let's look at Garry Kasparov first and see what he has to say. Now, he's speaking in Russian, so I'm going to just read his words. Russia has no future if this war is not lost. We have a clear political vision of what the future should be. Russia must stop being an empire. Russia must withdraw from Ukraine. Russia must return territories, pay reparations, and extradite war criminals. Anyone who agrees with this concept is welcome. We don't have any problems. It's the only chance for Russia to become a civilized state. And that's interesting. Why is it the only chance for Russia to become a civilized state? Timothy Snyder will answer that in the next video clip. And those who take an intermediate position, I do not consider them to be our allies in the main issue. There is a war going on. In a war, you choose sides. It's impossible to sit on two chairs during a war. And I think he's right. You can't be like, well, maybe it's okay. We just want Russia to tone it down a little bit. You can't do that. Okay, now here's the mechanism by which this works. We're going to listen to Timothy Snyder for a little bit less than a minute. Just hear what he has to say.
The thing we need to say is that imperialism directly contradicts the basic foundations of the international legal order. It's not just some funny idea. It's counter to everything we take for granted and that brings us stability.
And that's actually what Putin's going for here. He's going for overthrowing or subverting the international order. It's not just about Ukraine. And this is why the axis of authoritarian governments that are with him, Iran, Syria, China to some degree, North Korea, that's why they're all on the same team here, because they want to subvert the international order.
And perhaps most important, it's important to note that empires usually lose their wars. Empires usually lose their wars. Since 1945, the bigger country, the empire, has usually lost its wars. That means that we can expect, or it wouldn't be strange if Russia would lose its war. And then underneath that, it should lose its war, even if all you care about is Russia, because the only way that empires in Europe have transitioned into becoming rule of law states is by losing their last imperial war. So an analysis of the history of empire would lead you to the conclusion that doing what one can to help Russia lose this imperial war would be good not only for the people that Russia is oppressing and whose existence they're denying, but also good for Russia itself.
That's amazing, right? So it would be good for Ukraine if Russia loses the war, but it's also good for Russia if Russia loses the war, because losing the war will cause it to have to play by different rules moving forward, instead of thinking they can just throw their weight around, going, you know what, I have to be a player in the community of nations. I have to be playing by the same rules as everyone else. I can't just cross over the border whenever I feel like it. Okay, tell me what you think about this. I think both Kasparov and Snyder are spot on in their analysis. Put your comments below. Thank you for your time, the likes, the shares, and the subscribes. And thank you for being the kind of person that cares about Ukraine.